Modern-day predators don't even hold a candle to these ancient killers, like this ancient crocodilian that could easily bite you in half, and this ancient eagle that allegedly hunted and carried off children. The Megalodon. Let's start with the obvious, shall we? Dubbed the most giant shark to have ever lived, the Megalodon was a massive shark that roamed the Tethys Sea, which are the modern-day Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. While most predatory sharks are apex predators, the Megalodon definitely occupies the highest point on that apex. And no one's really gonna argue on that one. The massive fish was around 60 feet long, and experts estimated it weighed up to 227,500 pounds. That's 20 to 50 times the size of today's great white sharks. In fact, fossilized remains of great whites show teeth marks made by the Megalodon's banana-sized teeth. Megalodon became extinct 2.6 million years ago in the Pliocene era, but experts aren't really sure why. It could be that other sharks ate young megs, or when the Earth entered a cold phase, the Megalodon couldn't adapt despite its dangerous teeth and powerful body, as well as prey scarcity as well. Still, some actually believe that the meg continues to terrorize the deep sea to this very day. The Mosasaurus. Coming straight from prehistory straight into your nightmares is the mighty Mosasaurus. It was a dangerous extinct predator with a 6-foot skull that contained 250 teeth. Contrary to what many people believe, this giant reptile wasn't a dinosaur. However, today's paleontologists can't decide whether it's most closely related to modern snakes or monitor lizards. Either way, this prehistoric crocodilian was 56 feet long and weighed a massive 30,000 pounds. It had a double-hinged jaw to swallow prey whole, and a large and powerful tail for short bursts of speed. It preyed on sharks, massive fish, turtles, and birds, and probably took dinosaurs from the water's edge. Kinda like how modern crocs hunt, actually. Many paleontologists believe that they were the apex predators of the time. And while many megafaunas became extinct because they couldn't cope with climate change, Mosasaurus lived in a wide variety of environments, so they may have been able to cope with climate change. While Mosasaur was able to survive all of that, it didn't survive the same catastrophe that wiped out the dinosaurs in the late Cretaceous era. The Megatherium. When you think of sloths, you likely think of small, slow-moving creatures, but in the Ice Age, there were types of sloths that had much more active and aggressive tendencies. One of the biggest among these were the Megatherium. How big did they get, though? Well, these ground sloths could actually grow up to 20 feet long, which is longer than many land creatures today, including elephants. For all we know, the Megatherium went extinct at around 8500 BC, along with other iconic animals such as the Irish elk and the saber-toothed tiger. However, scientists now believe that this giant ground sloth survived in remote areas. In fact, it's thought that they survived for another 5,000 years on top of that. Maybe that's why this animal is surrounded by legend. Speaking of legend, Amazon locals often tell tales of the mapinguari, which is an animal that stands over 9 feet tall with nasty claws, backward-facing feet, and an extra mouth on its belly. The terrible beastie would surely send you running for the hills if it didn't get hold of you first. The Mega Piranha. Piranhas are already vicious creatures. They have the reputation of being aggressive and voracious eaters. What they lack in size, they more than make up for by gang warfare. They swarm any would-be prey in staggering numbers, taking tiny bites until that prey succumbs to its eventual fate. This then allows the tiny predators to take down animals way bigger than them. Now, if a group of 2-pound piranhas can do this, imagine what a piranha 10 times that size can do. The Mega Piranha lived in South America between 10 and 6 million years ago, and weighed anywhere between 20 to 30 pounds. They grew so large out of necessity. They lived at a time when the snakes, fish, and crocs they likely fed on were also gigantic. This fish was believed to be as ferocious, if not more, as its modern descendants, but what sets them apart is the sheer strength of their bite. Although it couldn't have crushed a car in its mouth, the jaws of this extinct relative of modern piranhas could exert a force of up to 50 times the fish's own weight. So, pound for pound, this guy has a stronger bite force than the Megalodon itself. Terrifying. The Arthroplura. At more than 6 feet long, these millipede-like creatures were the biggest arthropod to have scuttled around on the Earth. Or at least, it's the biggest one we know about so far. Scientists aren't completely sure why, but around 300 million years ago, bugs grew to epic proportions. Not a good time for a lot of people that I know. Scientists have theorized the ancient oxygen-rich atmosphere at that time, which was about 30% compared to the 31% that we have now, is the main reason for insect gigantism. Plus the fact that there still weren't any creatures equipped enough to predate on them. On land, the largest vertebrates were probably smaller than some of these arthropods. Here's one comforting thought though. Arthroplura probably wasn't a predator, since it was related to millipedes, which eat decomposing organic matter. Still, a millipede that size could still send anybody running for the hills. Deinosuchus. Deinosuchus was one of the many prehistoric giant crocs, but being one of the biggest makes it one of the most dangerous of them all. This crocodilian was 39 feet long with a 6-foot long head and weighed between 5 and 10 tons. Its bite force was 20,000 pounds, which makes a modern saltwater croc's measly 3,700 pounds of bite force seem like a loving nip from your pet rabbit. Its fossilized remains are found across North America, which was a tropical paradise during the time when Deinosuchus lived. It likely preyed on massive fish, turtles, and dinosaurs drinking from the river edge. Its pointed snout with a secondary palate allowed it to remain underwater and breathe before it ambushed its prey. Fortunately for modern-day animals and for us, of course, this massive croc became extinct in the late Cretaceous era, around 73 million years ago, before the mass extinction of the dinosaurs. Experts think Deinosuchus became extinct because of the climate change and it was too big to adapt. Haast's Eagle. This extinct bird of prey isn't as well known as the other animals on this list, but it really should be. This dangerous animal was a powerful 30-pound raptor endemic to South Island in New Zealand, and it existed until the 1400s, a fact that means it was around to hunt people. And hunt people, they did. The Maori people tell stories of Haast eagles grabbing children when their natural prey, the moa bird, was hunted to extinction. The bird of prey was the largest eagle to have ever existed. Its 30-pound weight outpaces the modern-day harpy eagle by a full 10 pounds. Its wingspan measured up to 10 feet. Mind you, that's pretty short for its weight, but more suited to hunting in dense bushland. Its 4.5-inch claws enabled it to grab and pin down flightless moa birds that were 15 times heavier. Many experts think that it grew so large that it could handle the size of its primary prey, the moa bird. Whether or not it preyed on children isn't confirmed, but experts think this massive eagle's size would have easily made it possible. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today's photo looks like the fossilized remains of an alien creature from a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars references aside, this is actually a real fossil of an ancient creature. Its name is the Dicranurus monstruosus. They were a type of trilobite, armored animals that littered the seas millions of years ago. However, armored and deadly sea creatures did exist, and one of them comes next: Pentacopterus. This long-extinct aquatic arthropod existed around 467.3 million years ago, a time when all of Iowa was underwater. It belonged to an extinct group of animals known as Eurypterids, or sea scorpions, and they are the modern-day spider and horseshoe crab's early relatives. Pentacopterus is actually a late addition to this family, only being discovered in 2015 in a meteorite crater by the upper Iowa River. This massive aquatic scorpion may have been one of the first early predators. Experts think it was at least 5 feet long, walked on the ocean floor, and maybe crawled onto land to spawn. It had spines and large grabbing limbs to trap prey. Their diet included fish and other marine animals. They also could have been cannibals that ate smaller versions of their genus. Eurypterids may have also been scavengers, searching shallow sea floors for carcasses. Quetzalcoatlus. Terrifying animals didn't occupy only the ground and the water. Some of them can fly as well. Just imagine a predatory creature the size of a giraffe with a 33-foot wingspan flying through the air. Impossible, one might say. But as history has always proved, nothing's impossible with evolution. Quetzalcoatlus northropi lived during the Cretaceous period alongside dinos and might even have eaten smaller ones. A theory detailed in a Wired magazine article in 2013 suggests that they mostly hunted by walking around like a stork, plucking plants and small animals up off the ground with their 6-foot beaks. But when they took to the air, researchers think they were graceful and powerful flyers. Quetzalcoatlus had hollow bones like modern birds, a crucial trait that allowed them to take up to the air. So in comparison, where giraffes weigh as much as 2,800 pounds, these creatures only carried about 550 pounds up into the air. Scientists also believe that they were such efficient flyers, so much so that they might have been able to fly and glide for days at a time. Fossils show that they were covered with hair, which probably helped them regulate their body temps during flight. Spinosaurus. The Spinosaurus was once an overlooked extinct animal, but not anymore. Spinosaurus lived in modern-day North Africa 99 million years ago, where it was one of the longest land carnivores ever. Experts estimate it reached up to 46 feet in length and weighed 8.2 tons. Its head was crocodilian, and recent estimates put it at 5.5 feet long. Alongside its massive and powerful head, Spinosaurus had 3-fingered forearms that could grab and hold prey. It had distinctive back spines that reached over 5 feet tall and formed a sail. Spinosaurus had limbs strong enough to hunt down land animals, but buoyant bones and a paddle-like tail, which meant that it was an effective predator in both land and water. It lived in warm tidal flats and mangrove forests. Experts think it preyed on turtles, fish, crocodilians, and dinos. Nothing was safe in this land and dangerous water-based predator. See you all next time!